Lion brand VANNA'S Choice. That is the yarn we're going to be talking about today. I've got a knit swatch and opinions, a crochet swatch and opinions, all of the details about this yarn, as well as several patterns, both knit and crochet, that recommend VANNA'S Choice specifically. And then I designed a little something special. It's not quite done yet, but I'm going to share my progress and a little bit of my design process with you all at the end. So hello and welcome to all of you joining me live. Let's see here. We've got Kim with us this morning, Unapologetically Mocha Crochet and Crafts. Hey everybody, good morning or afternoon. I know you're on the East Coast. Same with Lindsay, Knitwom. Good afternoon, y'all. It is morning for me. I'm on the West Coast in Washington. It is bright and early. I just finished my coffee, but let's go ahead and get into a Lion brand VANNA'S Choice. Now this yarn has been around for a while, so I'm sure you've gotten your hands on this. You've at least seen it in the store. I know that Joann Fabrics carries it, definitely for sure. When I used acrylic, this was like my second favorite acrylic yarn that I would go to. Especially there's a pumpkin color that I just love. So let's get into, oh, and it looks like we have a few more joining us. Good morning, Lacey. Hey, lovely friend. How are you this morning? And Lori, good morning, Lori. Awesome. So here we're gonna go ahead and share the details of Lion brand VANNA'S Choice. And I know almost all of you have worked with this yarn, but let's get into it anyways. Lion brand VANNA'S Choice is a worsted weight number 4 medium yarn. It's 100% acrylic. You get 170 yards or 156 meters per 100 grams or 3.5 ounces. The recommended needles are 5.5 millimeter, which is a US 9, and the recommended hook is a 6 millimeter J10. Those are the needles and hooks that I use to make my swatches. This is a machine wash and dry yarn, easy care acrylic. Easy care, and it retails for $4.99, which is it's not that far off of what you see for Lion brand acrylic yarns, their basic premium lines. And then you can see this yarn comes in a wide variety of colors. All of these colors are the colors that you can get online from Joann Fabrics, and there is a smaller selection available on Lion brand's website, and I do believe you can get this yarn outside of those places as well. So let's go ahead and look at my swatches. Oh, we've got, let's see. Lacey says, I have never felt it and have wanted to for a while. Okay, Lacey, I know that you're like me and you generally work with natural fibers. This, it is an acrylic. It is not the softest acrylic I've touched, but it is soft. It is soft and it wears well. This one doesn't pill as much as others, even though it's not marketed as anti-pilling. I've knit hats out of it. I've crocheted toys out of it. I've crocheted blankets out of it. It's a good staple acrylic, a good go-to acrylic. Now, I know Big Twist is the one that I see a lot of people saying is their favorite. I've never touched it, so I can't compare it to that. The only other acrylic that I did prefer over this one, like I said, this was my second choice. My first choice was Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn, and I stopped buying it after I found out more about the principles behind that company and where they invest their money. I can't personally stand for it, so I've stopped buying their yarn. I do have a little bit left in stash that I will use from time to time, but this is a good alternative, I feel like, for that. It's not quite as soft, but it does come in a great range of colors, and it is soft, like, don't get me wrong. And it looks like Lindsay says, used to be my favorite acrylic back in my college days. Yeah, it is a good acrylic. Kim says, I'm curious about your opinion about it. I'll save mine until after you share yours. LOL. Yes, because we got the same. If you're unaware, this came from the Lion brand mystery box, and Kim bought one too, and she got VANNA'S Choice. I don't remember if it was the same color, because she got a lot of like tans and neutral colors. Lacey, hey Mocha Poo, good to see you too. Lori, I have made a million sheep hats out of it. Yes, absolutely. We've made sheep hats together using this yarn from your stash and mine. Kim's saying hi back to Lacey, and Lacey says, I like acrylics. Oops, skipping around here. I like acrylics for blankets and for slippers, so I'm looking for a good acrylic go-to. I think this is a great one for blankets. Slippers, I don't know, because slippers are a little more hard wearing. You're rubbing against the surface on the bottom unless you give them a sole. So I don't know how well these hold up to that kind of abrasion, but I know that they work great for hats and blankets. And Kim got tan. That's what I thought. She ended up with like 2 browns. I got this bright blue, which is like way out of my comfort zone, but I'll show you what I decided to do with it a little bit later. Let me show you my swatches. So here is the knit swatch. And so it has pretty good stitch definition. You definitely see those V on the knits and the garter ridge, those purl bumps. If you were to do some sort of cabled pattern, it would definitely pop in this yarn. It has good stretch in both directions, which would make it ideal for something like garments, right? It's not going to be too stiff. The drape is not that great. It's acrylic, so you don't tend to get a ton of drape with acrylic. I did hand wash and wet block these, even though you can machine wash and dry. I just went to my favorite method, my go-to, a little bit of wool soak wash and a gentle squeeze laying flat to dry. So you're not going to get you're going to have something that carries a little more body and shape to it if you decide to go for a cowl or accessory or a garment. You won't get the drape, you'll get the shape, which might be something that you want in your project. It's just something to keep in mind. Like with the colorwork hats, you want your hat to have shape sometimes. Sometimes, like if it's a beanie, you want to have a nice shape. If you want it slouchy, maybe not this one. It would be like, well, not too bad, I guess. It might stick up a little bit. So that's the knit swatch. And then here's the crochet swatch. For the crochet swatch, I went with half double crochet because that's what I wanted to use in my design. So by swatching in half double crochet, I had the gauge that I needed to design the pattern that I wanted to. And so it has a nice medium density and medium see-through, right? Like sometimes crochet can have some giant gaps in it. I feel like this is what you expect from a basic half double crochet swatch. It's not too close, tight, and dense. It's not too open and airy. I like the way that it turned out. It does have decent stretch in both directions as well. So you could get something with negative ease and it would be just fine. It has about the same amount of drape as the knit swatch. And the one thing that I wanted to point out about these two that surprised me is generally crochet, when you work it up, is like much thicker in this direction than knit. But look at that. They are like, I'm trying to get the tails out of the way. They are almost the same thickness. Get out of there. There we go. They are almost the same thickness. The crochet, this is the knit swatch. This is the crochet swatch. They are almost the same thickness, which means you're not going to get something that's as bulky and heavy versus the knit versus the crochet, which I took into account when I was deciding to design the piece that I designed. I thought, well, I really get to play with the texture of the stitch. Do I want the knit look or do I want the crochet look? Because the thickness doesn't matter. So let's look. Oh, Catherine's joining us. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Catherine. Thank you for joining us. And everyone was saying hi back. So yes, these are my knit and crochet swatches. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the patterns that are designed using specifically this yarn. I'm going to go ahead and give you a warning. There are a lot of hats. This is like a go-to yarn for hats, and I definitely see why. I've mostly made hats with it, hats and blankets, but I did find some fun wearables as well. So let's see if I go here. Oh, I skipped the description. Whoops. So the yarn description from Lion Brand's website is Vanna White, America's favorite crocheter and Lion Brand's spokesperson for over 15 years, introduces Vanna's Choice, right? That was a while ago. An easy care, silky soft, premium basic available in a range of beautiful, expertly coordinated shades. And this is a description that I absolutely agree with. It's super easy care. I don't know that I would describe it as silky, though. I like to describe softness as silky or fuzzy. You can't have a silky soft and a fuzzy soft. You're really in one or the other category. I feel like this is a fuzzy soft, so I would call it a fuzzy soft premium basic. But there is a beautiful range of colors, like I already showed you. You can really have fun with color work or blankets. You have a lot of, and the colors do coordinate well as well. So let's skip on into the patterns. So this, I'm going to start with all the knitting patterns. This is the Gilmore Girls inspired pom-pom hat, which is free on a blog, or you can pay for the ad-free PDF. It is your basic go-to ribbed pom-pom hat. Super cute. I saw on the blog she wrote up that it was inspired by a scene in Gilmore Girls where Lorelai was wearing a basic knitted pom-pom hat. It was super cute in that gray color. I think you could run with any of the natural colors or even have fun with some of the bright colors with this one, but it never hurts to have one of those basic beanies in your like wardrobe and your stash of accessories when it starts to get cold, if it's cold where you live. I do get a cold season briefly, so I get to take advantage of my handmaids, but I know when I used to live in Georgia, I barely got to wear hats at all. All right, the next pattern, another beanie. What I loved about this beanie though is that texture. So it takes advantage of the stitch definition that you get from Vanna's Choice, and it's not your basic rib. I can't tell exactly what it kind of looks like, and I don't know. I'm not even gonna say it because I'm not even sure if that's true, but it looks like a knit one and then a moss stitch for 2 stitches kind of a hat, which I think is super cute. You get that fun little texture, and I think it really brings alive a solid color yarn. A little bit more interesting if you don't want just a basic purled beanie. This is another good option, and I love that it came in a full range of sizes. So this is a $5 knitting pattern, most likely because it goes from newborn all the way to adult. So you get the pattern, you got Vanna's Choice, which is a worsted weight you could use. It's like just like a good pattern to have in your library for something a little bit different. And I think it's a great unisex pattern, right? It would look great for both men and women, and you could easily modify it to be a tight-fitted beanie or just add a couple more rows for something a little slouchier. The next pattern I found was, surprise, another hat. I loved the little lace detail on this one. It's not, well, it's not lace, it's cables, but it looks like, to me, it looks lacy even though it's cabled. I love the way that this would look for like a newborn girl or a young girl. I think this is a very feminine hat, although you do you. I'm not saying it has to be. That's what I would make it for. I think it would look lovely on either of my daughters. It's a little too feminine for me, but I do like the look of it, and I think it looks really pretty in these soft colors that the designer chose. This is the Hat Sage, which is a $4.99 knitting pattern, and again, this is taking advantage of the fact that Vanna's Choice comes in a wide range of solid colors. They also have a fun small selection of heathered colors where it's running lights and dark like bits of color throughout. You know what heather looks like. I really like their orange heather colorway, but they've got like a really pretty gray one as well. You could definitely make this hat out of that and still get those cables that pop, and it still look wonderful. Let's see. Lacey says, I wear hats in any weather because I live in Florida. Otherwise, I would only be able to wear my beloved hats like 1 month a year. Exactly. I know down there in the Southeast, that's like, you just have to do it because otherwise you'll never get to wear them at all. All right. And then I found a top. How cute is this top? Now, you can see when in the modeled photos, that it doesn't have any drape. There's no contour to her figure. It's a very boxy fitting sweater. Even though it's not a boxy style sweater, the yarn holds its own shape. So this can work to your advantage if you don't want that fabric draping to the contours of your body and instead you want straight lines. And then she cut it with stripes, right? So you've got the straight lines of the body kind of concealing your figure if that's what you want, but then the horizontal lines add interest so you're not looking like you're wearing a pillowcase. You've got this fun design, and I think she did such a great job coordinating colors. She used kind of that speckled color on the top and then broke it up, and it does look like some of those other colors she chose were the heathered options that you can get from the Vanna's Choice line. And I love how she did the teal and the mustardy combo, but then also look at the magenta and plum color combo. I love that. I think the only thing I would change is not go so stark white. Maybe I would have gone with a softer gray just because I get scared to wear white because I have children. I have 3 kids. white just does not stay clean for me for very long. But I think she did a wonderful job designing this with this yarn and the way that she strapped up those colors. This is gorgeous. And this is the Juniper tee, which is a $9 knitting pattern. And then I've got all of the crochet patterns to share with you guys as well. So how pretty is this one? I love her photography so much. This is right up my alley of colorways and style. This is the Harvest Moon Pocket Shawl. And what I like about this is it's like wearing a cardigan in a way without actually making a cardigan, right? You get to wear this wrap that wears like a cardigan, but you don't have to worry about shaping or seaming, although I'm sure there is seaming for the pockets. That's what it looks like, at least, because it's in a completely different direction and stitch pattern. But I love the fringe that she added at the bottom. I think that's really trending right now, actually. I had a friend the other day show me this store-bought cardigan, and she's like, look at this like tattered fringe at the bottom. How cute. I love this cardigan so much because of that. So I think that's definitely something that's going to be in this fall. And I love everything about it. The texture, the ribbing, the pockets, the fringe. I want this. I want to wear this so much. And this is a free crochet pattern on her blog, so you could easily make this. I will say it might be a little bit of a yarn eater because it is crochet cables, but I think it's something that's definitely going to be worth it. It looks so cozy. Let's see. Catherine is saying, I've made shawls and scarves out of Vanna's Choice, and they were so soft. It was nice to work with. Absolutely. And it is one of those things, like I hand washed, but with certain acrylics, and I believe Vanna's Choice is one of them, the more you wash them, the softer they get, which is great. The more you wash it, the more you wear it, the softer it gets. How much better can things get than that? And she also said, Amanda, I don't have kids and white scares me. I mean, I get to use my kids as an excuse, right? Because even outside of that, like I mess up my own stuff, right? But at least having 3 kids, I can be like, yeah, but also I'm not the only one to be afraid of messing up my stuff. Lacey, oh yeah, white is not an option for me either. I have 3 kids, 2 dogs, a cat, and well water. No white over here. Oh man, well water. I do know that that can be harsh on all sorts of stuff. I know especially your hair, but I don't know too much about laundry. I didn't even think about that. And the cats and the dogs, absolutely, absolutely. I would be worried about the fringe on this pocket shawl with cats and dogs as well, too. I've got my cats, as long as I put this up, they would definitely try to attack me while I'm wearing it, but as long as I put it up when it's stored, they might not eat it. But if, like, I have a rack back here by my front door that when it starts getting cold, I start piling our handmade hats and shawls and scarves so we can just grab them when we run out the door. This is one that I couldn't just hang there because the cats would definitely attack it and eat it. Knitworm says, well, I kind of want to make that pocket shawl, right? I love it so much. And like like everything about this, the design, the photography, the color, I think she nailed it. Nailed it. Lacey says that color is all sorts of my palette, right? And it screams fall. We are making our way into fall. This makes me want to make this and then drink some coffee and crochet or knit. Yes, absolutely. All right, so time for more hats, right? Vanna's Choice is so good for hats. This is another pattern by that same designer. This is the Braided Beanie Hat, which is another free crochet pattern on her blog, on her website. And I think, again, she took advantage of the fact that this solid color yarn really gives you the ability to make cables pop. Now, I honestly cannot tell you from the picture if this is a cable or if this is one of those techniques where you end up chaining the loops all together. You'll definitely have to go to her website to find out. I do have all of the patterns I'm talking about today linked in the description box below. So if you like any of these, follow them on over. It's a mix of their website and Ravelry. So just be aware what you're clicking on before you follow it. I try to send you directly to these designers if at all possible. When you can buy directly from the designer, they get to keep the most money. So that's, and even if it's a free pattern on their website, right, it's usually monetized with ads. They get they get that. That's how we can support the designers directly from them. So that's what I constantly try to do when I link to them. Lacey's saying, my fur babies are all seniors now. Oh, they have no interest in playing with it for the most part, but they do want to nap on my makes. And Kitty loves to knead stuff with her eagle claws. Oh, senior pets are my favorite because of how lazy and snuggly they are. Like, kittens and puppies are cute, but they're so high energy and they can be destructive with the playing and the chewing. But once they get to be in their middle age to senior age, they super mellow out and it's snuggle time. That is my favorite. So yeah, it's so funny about the eagle claws. I tried, side note, I tried one time to glue those cat caps on my cat once. That did not go over well. Every time I finally managed to get them on my cat, they just chewed them all off, and it was just a big waste of my time. Lacey, I love Hey Carrie. I made her boyfriend sweater and it was so fun. Is that must be her crochet business name is Hey Carrie, this Carrie M. Chambers. I'll have to look up her boyfriend sweater. I have not made very many men's sweaters. So I've been telling David that I want to design him one because I designed him the birdfoot hat, and how fun would it be to take that stitch pattern and design him a nice fitting sweater. So it's on the list of eventualities. All right, the next crochet pattern, another hat. I told you guys. And they're like, especially when you can search for what's trending, Vanna's Choice is like the #1 go-to for hats, it seems like, for makes and designers. And I think it does. It comes down to the way that it works up the fabric that you get. It lends itself well to hats. And that stitch definition, look how fun that is. It looks like it's got front posts and back posts and some back loop work or potentially slip stitching. It really could be either way. I love this. This looks like the copycat beanie. I think that's the knit version of it. Those really popular hats that were in the stores for a while that have, you know, this striped texture look. This is Rusc by Harlee Wentworth, which is free on her blog, or you can get the ad-free PDF for $2.99, which is a steal of a deal. And I do believe this one has a good range of sizes as well. I think it's fun in this plain silver color, but again, it would look great in all colors because it's just texture that lets you show off the fun stitches and it doesn't get disrupted by the colorway. Lacey says, I'm too old for puppies. I have come to terms with this, LOL, but I will totally love on other people's pups. That's like kids, right? That's what I hear from my parents about having grandkids is I'm too old to have kids, but let me love and squeeze on that baby and then send it home with you. Lacey, so the boyfriend sweater is for girls, actually. Oh, like when you steal your boyfriend's sweater? I mean, anyone can wear anything, of course. Yes, absolutely. I will talk about gender patterns, but that's usually because we're looking at size measurements, right? Generally, men have different sizes than women. So when you're designing, you use a set of sizes to fit your intended audience, but that does not, it's not a one fits. It's like not a one gender for all kind of thing. You wear what you want. You wear what makes you happy. And that gray hat is really good. Yes, I absolutely love this hat. But thinking about the boyfriend sweater, I wonder if that's what it is. Kind of like when you steal your boyfriend's sweater that's meant for their dimensions. So you get this nice oversized, boxy kind of comfy sweater. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go check that one out. Marquita, good morning. Hey, y'all. I love this beanie. Isn't it cute? You'll have to go back and check. There are some other super cute beanies that we talked about as well. Vanna's Choice is the yarn we're talking about today, and there are all sorts of hat and beanie patterns, as well as some fun wearables that I found for this yarn. If you have any in your stash, or if you want to give this yarn a try. And I think, oh, here is the final one. How cute is this cardigan? I love this one so much because of the stripes and the length and the pockets. pockets, you guys, come on. I just think that this Canterbury cardigan by Whistle and Wool, which is a $5.50. Oh, it says knitting pattern, but it's not. It's a crochet pattern. That is my bad. I think that this pattern it's just great. And I saw on I think her pattern page, it said that this is a kit available from Lion Brand's website as well. So you can make sure when you order, because this should be a decent amount of yarn to make this cardigan, that it's all in the same dye lot. Like that's the bonus about getting kits from Lion Brand's website, right? You're guaranteed pretty much to get all the same dye lot for your entire project if you're buying for a project like you would be with a kit. But I love the little border around the whole thing, the ribbing on the bottom. It looks like she might have used posts. I would swap that out for some slip stitch ribbing. I like that look better. I might even knit the ribbing, honestly, because I like knit ribbing better. Slip stitch crochet ribbing and knit ribbing behave identically. They are a little different in construction because you don't get the reverse stitches, but they behave identically. But I feel like for me, knit ribbing knits faster than slip stitch ribbing crochets. So that's why I would do that. But yeah, the pockets, the stripes, the colors, like this, I would probably swap out the white for something just a tad darker. Like I might do like a heather gray with a very, very dark gray or black instead of the white, because we talked about the whites and the creams, but it is stunning in the white, and I can't tell if it's white or cream. It's stunning. I think she nailed it. So, oh, Lacey was talking about that boyfriend sweater. Exactly. It's oversized and all sorts of comfy, perfect for really cold Sundays, lounging and being lazy. Those are my favorite days, and I feel like I kind of dress like that almost all of the time, especially when it's cold. Handmade socks, oversized sweater, cozy in my house, being lazy. Well, I like to think it's lazy, but I'm literally the opposite of lazy. I overdo everything. Lori, have a good day. Have to get ready. I guess your kids are coming over. Oh, if you didn't know, Lori is the kids' grandma. So fun. Have fun with the kids. Love you. Bye. Catherine. Oh my goodness. Yes, on this cardigan, right? And it is. It's a $5.50 pattern. But if you've been knitting or crocheting for a while, you know that sizing garments is a lot of work. It's worth paying for a pattern that has been properly sized, tech edited, possibly even tested. I don't know on this one, although I have a feeling there's a good chance it was also tested for the sizing. That is the hardest part about designing a garment, so that other people can make it to get the fit that is best for them. It's just worth paying for it, honestly. Lacey, oh, that cardigan is amazing. It's got pockets, right? Everything needs pockets. Sorry, I need to spend time away from Instagram, obviously. Oh, that song. Oh, there are some good Instagram reels and TikToks going around about dresses with pockets. And there's a really great video about a gal in a romper with pockets. You should look that one up. Lacey, slip stitch ribbing is such a pain in the, I like single crochet ribbing though. Yeah, I mean, I guess single crochet ribbing probably goes a lot faster. I haven't done it. I'm just picky about my ribbing because after being a crocheter for so long and then learning to knit, going, this is what ribbing is supposed to be like, I was just kind of like, what is crochet doing other than trying to imitate knitting? Get out of here with that front post, back posts. I just substitute it. Marquita, lovely Cardi. I really like it. Catherine, it's worth it. You guys work hard on designing. Absolutely. I will say there are some like simple patterns are easy to shoot out, right? My most recent design, the simple asymmetric mohair shawl, that was designed like from concept to pattern release. I want to say it took 4 days of working on it to come up with the idea, to make it, to write it, get it graded, photographed, and then the video and the PDF, all of that. It took 4 days, which is super fast for a pattern. My crochet along starting next week, I have been working on that. It feels like for the whole year. Like, it's a fingering weight shawl that takes 5 skeins and every row is unique. some of these patterns just, it's a lot of work. It's a huge investment on our part. So yeah, but I know if you guys are here, I know you support designers and you understand the worth, the cost of patterns. Kim, looks crochet to me. It is, yeah, sorry. When I go through and make my slides, and I was making this late last night, I copy paste, and so I just missed that this said knitting. It is a crochet. It is indeed a crochet pattern. Sorry. Lacey, paying for patterns is so worth it. Support small businesses when you are able to. It is kind of my purpose. Yeah, Lacey, you are a hype man for small businesses. I love your blog for that reason. Hyping up small designers, small dyers, absolutely. And I appreciate you for that. That mohair shawl is fun and it is addictive. I know, right? That's why it flew off my hook so fast. It's such a simple pattern that repeats so quickly, and it's fun to work up, and it's super simple. All right, so that is all of the, yep, that's all the patterns that I wanted to show you that are recommended for this yarn. So yeah, mostly hats with a side of wearables. And I do think with that cardigan, because I showed you kind of the pullover for the knit pattern that doesn't have a lot of shape to it. When you wear a cardigan, it kind of wears more like a coat when you have something that's a denser, not even denser because it's not super dense, it just doesn't have as much drape. So it wears more like a stiff coat, which is great, especially the way that she modeled it. So I did want to mention that. So this is the only ball that I have left. So I got 3 of these skeins from my Lion Brand mystery box, and I got the aqua marine colorway, this just bright blue. I had no idea what to do with it. So, and I was challenging myself to design something out of everything in the box, which if you've been following along with these yarn reviews, I have successfully done that for the first 2. Neither of the patterns are done or out yet. I'm still waiting on yarn for the ice cream cotton blend. That hasn't arrived yet. The cowl's done. I just need to film it. This one, I'm like, what am I going to do with this yarn? It's too bright for me. I don't have any colors that would necessarily pair with it. And then I started thinking about my youngest daughter, Annabelle, who is 9, almost 10 months old. And I thought, you know, she would be super cute in this bright blue color. And I thought, okay, so maybe I'll make a sweater or maybe I'll make a dress, and kind of just going down that thought sent me into the cutest, like, prepare yourself for cuteness overload. Let me show you my sketch first, because I always have to draw. I have to draw it out because that helps me visualize how I'm going to use the body measurements to math out the fit for a design. I had originally intended on making a schematic to share with you guys, so it was easier for me to demonstrate and explain, but I was tired last night trying to get these slides ready. It didn't happen. So instead, you get to see my messy sketches, which maybe is more fun. This is what I'm making for Annie. How cute. It's the overalls dress. And like you can see, I make all sorts of notes, like no ease to the front, because I want this to cut. This is my schematic of it cut in half, right? I wanted the waist to cut in where that front panel is. I didn't want it the full width of the hips where the dress starts. And I start making notes about like how wide do I want the strap. I wanted about 1/6 of the front panel. And you see how I'm using percentages. Percentages are super important when you're looking at grading a pattern, because you can't just say, oh, 4 stitches. Well, this pattern I'm grading from 2 years, which is the size I'm making for Annie because she's a big baby, all the way up to size 12. So if I was like, oh yeah, 1 inch, or like, yeah, a specific measurement, right? A specific number of stitches or a specific measurement, 1 inch on the 2-year-old size is not going to be appropriate graded up to a size 12. So I use things like percentages, like 1/6 of the front panel. So when you pop that formula in, it will automatically proportionally grade the pattern for you. What else is on here? I'm trying to read it backwards. Oh, and I even had notes on here about possibly knitting it, right? So like when it comes time to do the pleated ruffly parts, like knit front, back, front, do I want to massively increase in one row, or do I want to spread my increases out row over row? So, and I even have like all sorts of notes on the bottom about like, do I want to sew the straps on, or do I want it to be seamless? Do I want to start with the straps and then you come back and crochet along them? I did decide to do the straps last because that would give the maker the opportunity to adjust them, because I decided not to go with a button closure, because sometimes, especially because I'm making it for my baby, older sizes it wouldn't be a problem, but babies crawling and moving around, I thought with a button closure there might be too much stress and it might pop the strap off the button just with the moving and crawling of a baby being a little more erratic. So I decided for it to be a complete sewn closure, so make the straps last and you can actually you can follow my measurements, or you can actually fit it to the child or person you're making for. But yeah, so that's the sketch. Let me show you how freaking cute this sample is. Oh, and let me catch up on the chat too. So Lacey says, I really like that blue though. I have never been a blues person, but I'm gravitating to them more and more. This color in navy and super light sky blue, they are winning me over. Yeah, I could definitely see this playing well with other blues in a striping situation. I did also see it against, I pulled some yarn out for another project that used a bright green, and I kind of like this aquamarine with a super bright lime green too, but it's definitely something that looks more like playful and childish, like amigurumi or maybe a child's sweater. Catherine says, so cute. And Lacey says, yes, yes, yes. I made one for a little baby before, and they are super fun and cute. Is she a juicy little chunk? Yes, yes. When I took her in to the doctor, she's measuring the 98th percentile for everything. She's a big baby. My Layla and Dakota were super juicy. I love squeezing on a chunky little baby. Oh dear, my perpetual baby fever is kicking in. Yeah, she is. She is just a chunk everywhere. Face, body, legs, a squeezer, and I love her. Which is why I have to make her the size 2, even though she's just turning 10 months here shortly. So I'm going to try to get this put together. It's going to be a little hard to show. Let me just show you first. This is what I got. It is so adorable. I'm trying to get my yarn out of the way. Or maybe I can't. So I had just a small ball left before I joined that final ball. And so, yeah, so the front, I made it so that the front panel is just a little bit shorter than the back so that it comes up higher. So when the straps come over to the front, it's lower in the front, higher up in the back. I thought that that would give it a better fit. And then just like the picture, there's this cutout. The front panel is not wide enough to cover the full front chest, so it does look more like overalls. And then the ruffles. So I started the ruffles. I decided to spread out the increases over 2 rows instead of do them all at once. And I'm glad that I did that. And then, you know, I got a couple rows in and I'm like, is this too many ruffles? No, it's a freaking adorable. I love it so much. And the longer it gets, the less it's going to look like crazy ruffles. I do have a few more rows before I start the border and then the straps, and this will be done completely. But I tried it on her. It fits like a glove, and it's so stinking cute. This is like it's the cutest thing ever. Let's see. Lacey says that bright aqua color works so good as a pop of color. It's more unexpected than like hot pink. Absolutely. This is like in your face pop of color, which I thought, which is why I went the direction of this overalls outfit instead of just a pullover or a full length dress. I thought this would be so fun under a neutral onesie. And for older kids, a long sleeve shirt or leggings. But yeah, like a white long sleeve onesie, and you could even have some fun leggings too. I love it so much. Marquita says, that's so cute. Thank you. Lacey, when Layla was a couple months old, she measured so far off the percentile, the doctor couldn't chart it because she was off the page. She's the outlier. She was chunky, but she was really tall. She is still tall and thick, but she is solid muscle. Yeah, that's what I think Annie is going to end up like. She was within the chart, 98th percentile. She wasn't off the chart, but she seems like she will have a very muscular build to her. It runs in her genes. So, oh dear. Oh my dear goodness, your little dress is so good. Imagine it with some striped, colorful leggings. That would be cute too. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. That would be a super fun. And Catherine says, adorable, Amanda. Thank you. Yeah, I thought that I would end up adding possibly like some lace or like a lace detail to the bottom just for some interest, but I ended up liking this the way that it was. The only thing that didn't turn out the way that I expected it to, and I decided not to frog it anyways, but I might change it in the final pattern, is this front panel here. And I'll show you my sketch. You can see in my sketch, I originally sketched it with the idea that I was going to knit this design. And I was going to leave it kind of like a giant swatch, right? I was going to leave a stockinette in the center and ribbing on the top and the sides and this bottom into the waistband. So when I decided to crochet it, I used the half double crochet in the third loop, back bar, whatever you want to call it. And I left the center regular half double crochet, and you can't really tell. And so I was surprised by that. You don't get the stark contrast that you do with knitting. So you can see on my edges, there are those half double crochets in the back bar, but then the body, it kind of gets lost. But down here, when you're continuing to do the half double crochet in the back bar, you get this nice texture. So I think what I'm going to do instead is just leave the entire front panel all half double crochet in the third loop, back bar, whatever you want to call it, for the whole panel. I really like that look to distinguish the difference between the body and the skirt. And I really like the way that it turned out at the top of the skirt. And it makes a fabric that doesn't stretch. So it makes it tight around the waist, because for this part of the pattern, I used the waist measurement, and then I increased from there, which will, because there's so many massive increases to create the ruffle, you don't have to worry about clearing the hip circumference, because you're easily clearing the hip circumference, right? Like, this is just so stinking cute. So yeah, it stays nice and tight around the hip, so you don't have to worry about it moving anywhere. Even if the straps don't fit exactly, it fits the waist gently. So that is another thing that's nice about that stitch pattern, right on the waist. So yeah, that is what I decided to come up with this yarn, and I'm super excited about it, and I cannot wait to finish it and put it on her little chunky body and take photos. It's gonna be adorable. And she's getting to the point where she's pulling herself up to stand, which is gonna be even cuter too. So yeah, that is what I decided to design. Let's see. Oh, yep, we saw that one. Catherine, adorable. Amanda, thank you. I think we saw that one too. Cables on the side would be cute also. On the side of the skirt, is that what you're talking about? Or even along the bottom horizontally would be cute too. Yeah, it's just, it's super cute. Lacey, yes, I did two row striping on the bib of the overalls dress I made, but I love your skirt. The one I made was a straighter A-line style, and I think the ruffles will be better for crawling. Yeah, I think so too. It's less likely to get like your knee snagged on it and then just like start pulling the whole thing, because it's probably just gonna ruffle up like the crinolines. Oh my gosh, so cute. Yeah, that's another thing that lends well to the massive ruffling that's going on, because I thought about just doubling everything, and then I ended up tripling everything, and it makes this cute, just extra ruffles. And if you decided to go with a yarn that had more drape, it's going to flow a lot better and not poof out as far. But the extra poofing is kind of what makes it adorable. So it's like if you were to make this design for an older child and you use something drapier, it could have a more elegant look to it versus for a baby, this is very like playful and fun. The bib. Oh yeah, cables. Yeah. You could run a cute cable on the front or a couple skinny cables up the front would be adorable too. And then the other thing about this Vanna's Choice is it works up so fast. Like you can see easily how big these stitches are. I want to say that on this 2-year-old size, it's only like 24 stitches wide. So I crocheted most of this in an evening. I could have finished it. I just was working on other projects because I can't just work on one project at a time. And it uses a giant hook. This is a 6mm hook that I'm using to crochet this up. So super fast. All right, so that is everything that I wanted to talk about for Vanna's Choice, Lion Brand Vanna's Choice yarn, all of the patterns, the details, and what I designed. So let's just chat now. Tell me what you guys have been working on this week. What has all of your attention? What are you excited about? Have you learned something new? Any of it? Spill the beans. And while you're getting ready to tell me, I will share with you some of the things I've been working on. So I have been spending more and more time on TikTok. I've been having so much fun watching videos, making videos, and one of the things that started popping up over and over again are these dang wind spinners. They like took over TikTok, and so I had to give it a try. And I know Kim, you made one too, which even was like, okay, I really have to make one of these now. So I ended up doing a 100 chain, a beginning chain wind spinner, and it's super long. And the original pattern has a tassel on the end, but if you watched my live last weekend, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to make Halloween Minecraft wind spinners for my front porch this year for my kids. They're going to be hyped. So Emily picked out the colors. My oldest daughter picked out the colors for this wind spinner, and she wants to do a Minecraft skeleton for the bottom. So I've been working on that. It's not done yet. And we just used a stash acrylic and silver gray, a glitter black, and then I repeated the silver again. Now this pattern is from Ophelia Talks on YouTube, and I was searching for patterns. I think she's the first person that put a pattern out for this wind spinner. I can't find it anywhere else. Let me know if you saw that, if she's not the first person, but I have to say, you guys, what the heck? So I originally saw her video and I saved it for later. And when I went back to find it, now there are so many videos on how to make wind spinners. And I'm like, is that your pattern or was it her pattern and you're just making a new video and calling it your own? That frustrates me so hardcore, like to my very core. Like I understand jumping on trends and, you know, it can be difficult to promote your business, but if it's not your idea, don't try to make it seem like it's your idea. But yeah, so that is what I did. I am jumping on the trend of wind spinners and I cannot wait. This is her skeleton wind spinner, and then my son picked out one for an Enderman. I'm going to make myself the glowing pumpkin and then also a creeper. So let's catch up with what you all are working on. Let's see. Lacey says, oh yes, when given the option of going extra or going conservative with baby girl clothes, I always recommend going as extra as possible. Little girls are so cute in crazy clothes. I know, and it's one of those things that's fun too, where you can take pictures and embarrass them with it later. Like, look at how adorable, cute you were in this ridiculous ruffle overalls. It's too much. It's too cute. Because I don't want to do that to her when she gets older. It's fun to do it while she can't say anything about it. Knitwim, I'm on the second row of this lace border, LOL, trying to finish hollow web before the MCal. Oh my gosh, so if you have not seen this, Knitwim, who's at Knitwim on Instagram as well, I know there's pictures on there, and I don't know if she showed it off on her YouTube channel at all, but she is making my hollow web shawl but in lace weight. Originally, she had requested that I make another hollow web, but for lace weight, and I started it, and I got like 3 sections into the pattern, and I quit. 1, because it takes forever when you're working in lace weight, and 2, the gauge is so different between lace weight and fingering weight that it's not a simple conversion, especially for the stitch patterns that I used in hollow web. They can be difficult to increase, and you definitely have to repeat the rows per section to get the same length. And so, yeah, I quit. I abandoned it. She had already started. She was following along as I was giving her new sections. She has ventured off onto her own to figure it out. It is wonderful. She's nailing it. Basically a pattern designer in my book. And she is on the second row of the lace border. So she is at the end, and I cannot wait to see this finished. It's like a light gray and a dark gray with these orange beads. I love it so much. Power to you, Lindsay. You are close to the end. And even if you don't finish it before the crochet along starts, I think that you should be able to keep pace, because I tried my best to pace out the crochet along so that it's actually creatable in that time frame. I have followed crochet alongs, knit alongs, even mystery ones in the past that cram so much work into a week that it's like impossible to keep up. Even in the communities where the crochet along's being hosted, there's very few people that can actually keep up with the clues. So I want to say, I'd have to look back up at my notes, but at my crochet speed, the clues for the large size that come out every week over 6 weeks are based on about 6 hours of work a week. So if you can find 1 to 2 hours a night, 3 to 6 nights out of the week, you can keep up. And even if you can't do it that frequently, maybe you can find 3 hours 2 days out of the week. I don't know your schedule, but if you could, and also that's at my speed. So I wouldn't say I crochet crazy fast. It's when I time myself crocheting, it's at a comfortable speed, but I have been crocheting most of my life, so I don't know where that might fit with your speed. But actually, me and Lindsay talked about this. I told her at how many stitches she has on her shawl right now. I was like, oh man, I think that would take me an hour a row. And she's like, well, it's this many stitches. And I was like, well, I generally make this many stitches per minute. So I was like, it would take me an hour. I was really close to my guesstimate. And then she later was like, oh yeah, if I have no interruptions, it only takes me an hour. So I want to say I have a very average crochet speed. Kim, that's cute. Thank you so much. Though you must be talking about the wind spinner, which was right when I was talking to you guys last. Marquita, I started Detroit Knots Luna Fade Tunisian shawl today, and I'm enjoying it a lot. Oh, okay. I do love a good fade shawl. I'm not familiar with Detroit Knots Luna Fade. Is it a triangular shaped shawl? Is it asymmetric? Is it crescent? What kind of shape are we looking at? I'm not a fan of Tunisian crochet. I tried it once when I was younger, and so I tried it back before YouTube existed, right? I learned to crochet before YouTube was a thing, so I was taught out of books and by the people that I had access to, which was really just my grandma. And how I came across Tunisian crochet is she had one of those long, they also call them Afghan hooks. And I was like, what the heck is that? What do you do with that? And she's like, oh, it's an Afghan hook. You do Tunisian crochet. And she gave me one of her books out of her collection, and I set off to learning, is it called basic stitch? I've already forgotten. It's simple stitch or basic stitch, just the plain Tunisian stitch. And I, started a width for a scarf, and I just was practicing and going, and I was using acrylic, and it just curled. The whole thing just curled up on me, and I was like, this is not fun. It's taking forever, because when I started, and I still do, prefer double crochet, it goes so much faster. And my grandma was even worse. She made everything in treble. Like, I have so many crochet blankets that were hers that are out of treble and double treble stitches, because she's like, let's go, go, go. Yeah, it just was too slow and not for me. But I do love the direction that Tunisian crochet has taken. And I like it definitely. I feel like Tony of TL Yarn Crafts really kind of sparked a movement with using Tunisian crochet to really, it's really grown in popularity because of her tutorials and patterns. And that's my opinion, but it's something that I feel like is definitely out there. So that's my rabbit hole about Tunisian. I think it is really pretty in natural fiber, fingering weight natural fibers. Love it. That would be a reason for me to maybe give it a second chance, is if I use like an indie dyed yarn for a shawl. That may get me doing it again. Lacey, I am all up in the mohair shawl, and I am finding a blog post about ways to save money on hand-dyed yarn. Yes, yes. Not finding, finishing. I appreciate that. I just put out that video of the Misfit Yarns $15 mystery skein grab bags, and I used the $5 code. I got that yarn for $10. That is a steal of a deal. If you're looking for ways to save money on hand-dyed yarn, Lacey's blog is the way to go. That's the crochetlibra.com. Keep up on her articles because there's hidden gems in there. And the mohair shawl, and you're not using mohair, right? But if I remember correctly, you've got that gorgeous fingering weight hand-dyed yarn that's like variegated and speckled with a Surrey alpaca. So Surrey alpaca gives a really fun halo too, which is a great mohair alternative. I need pictures. I need pictures of this, Lacey. Oh no, I'm getting lost in the comments. Marquita, I really like the spinners. They're so much fun, and it's long, so like it's getting all tangled, and it's hard for me to show. You have to like wind it up and then release it, and because I used acrylic, it doesn't have a lot of weight to it. I believe the original pattern uses cotton. I want to say she used Stylecraft yarn, the cotton, and that weight I think would make a better spinner, but it still works. When I have it hung up outside, it has a nice spin to it. And I think once I add the weight to the bottom, even better. Lacey, I want to make a wind spinner. Is it just yarn or are there other materials? It's just yarn. Yeah, you're literally just crocheting it, and then you add a tassel to the end, and you can use whatever materials you want. Like I said, I think cotton would probably work better for that. Catherine, still trying to finish up whips. You and Mocha have so many things that I want to make. Yeah, Mocha's lives are dangerous. She gets me all excited about stuff. I know that, yeah, absolutely. It's dangerous. Lacey, you know they borrowed that. Not cool. Yeah, I know. We're talking about the wind spinners. I got mad. I got mad because it's especially as someone who started in the crochet community, learned to knit as a part of that, started out buying acrylic in big box yarn stores, and then worked at a local yarn store with that mostly sold natural fibers. I think we had like a couple acrylic blends and only 100% acrylic yarn. So I've gotten to see the community from both ends, the low cost acrylic side, the high cost natural fiber side, the crochet side, the knit side. And there is like a really hard divide between crochet and knit. And I really like to try to blend the two together and eliminate that hard to divide. But it's hard to ignore things like the knitting community. I just saw a well-known knitwear designer do a call for testers for a sweater. And when she did that, someone said, oh, that looks like this other designer's sweater. And she pulled the whole design. She's like, I'm not out here to try to make things that look like other designers' patterns. And I don't want it like to be taking from other designers, even unintentionally. So you see that in the knitting community, and then in the crochet community. And of course, this is not everybody. This is not everybody. But to see that one spinner tutorial go up and then not even a week later, there's 10 new ones, it's really frustrating, especially because it was nowhere from what I could see. Nobody had made one. You couldn't find a pattern anywhere. It's very much seems like this was her own original idea that kind of went, you know, small viral, and everybody just jumps on it, and it's frustrating. And like from the mindset of like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take someone else's pattern, change a stitch or a color or add an extra row and call it my own. Eventually, like, what kind of audience do you think that's growing for yourself? Eventually your audience will realize that you're not coming up with your own original ideas, and you're just piggybacking off of other people creating their own original ideas. It's just frustrating for me. Mocha, working on shawls, poofs, and wind spinners and coin purses, so not much. When do you find out if you got into the show? That's what I want to know. I'm so hyped for you. I really hope you get in and that your stuff does really well. what kind of shawl are you working on? Is this for you? Is this for the show? I'm assuming the poofs are for the show, which I'm definitely going to be making one of Marquita's poofs. I'm going to do a new series. I don't know if I mentioned this. Blank made me do it. And anytime I'm super inspired by someone on social media or someone on YouTube is social media too, right? Anytime they share a make of theirs or a pattern of theirs that gets me so excited that I do it, I'm going to make a video about it and talk about them and their pattern. That's how you do it, right? If you want to jump on the wind spinner hype, you make a video pointing people in that direction, talking about that person, supporting that person, not saying that it's your own design or like, here's how to make one. Like, there's already a video how to make one. Lacey. Oh dear, lace weight of what? Are you talking about Lindsay's shawl lace weight? She's making a lace weight hollow web. Lace weight. So tiny, so tiny. Lindsay, have you posted a picture of that in the Facebook group? I know Lindsay's a part of the Mandobug Crafters Corner Facebook group. You may have. If not, share another one and you guys can join. It is a private group only so that I can hopefully screen out any people that don't belong there. It's a very basic question that you just have to answer to get in. I approve anyone that answers the question for the most part, unless they look like a bot, which you most likely will not. Oh, a black heart. Cute. It's not showing up very well because my background for comments are black. Marquita, it's more circular and a crescent. Oh, those are like my favorite aesthetic shawls. They're like, when you look at them flat, circular and crescent shawls are my favorite, with the asymmetric being my second favorite. I like to make some weird asymmetric shaped shawls. If you look at my patterns, you'll see that. Tunisian, Lacey says, Tunisian is hard. I can do the Tunisian simple stitch. That's what it's called, the simple stitch. And I love simple stitch wash rags, but that is all I could figure out. Yeah, you know, I never tried to go beyond simple stitch, so I don't know. I will take your word for it. But again, with most things, it's hard the first time you try it, and it's one of those things where you just keep practicing until it clicks, and then you feel silly forever thinking that it was that hard. Marquita, Tunisian simple stitch. Yes, thank you. Basic stitch. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. It must be TSS. Yes, Tony has made it seem so much simpler, but I enjoy the motion of it. But I learned it initially for the knit stitch. And that is, I think, the most common way that people get into Tunisian is they crochet. Maybe they tried to knit and it was too hard, or they're not interested. They're comfortable with their hook. You can use the Tunisian knit stitch and get a knit look, get the knit fabric without actually having to knit. So I do think that's kind of a natural progression for someone who starts with crochet and wants to make something that is more like knitting, because the Tunisian knit stitch is not the same as like the crochet waistcoat stitch that gives you a knit look. It gives you a different fabric. Lacey says, thank you. You're welcome. Oh boy, I got to scroll and I lost everything. Oh, here we are. After watching TL Yarn Crafts, I may try Tunisian again, but I agree, the rolling up is so annoying. I have a feeling because Tony does so great with everything that she puts out, she probably has a tutorial on how to minimize, like tips for your Tunisian not rolling. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a way to do it. And I feel like just using natural fibers and blocking is going to make that even better for you, because I know that happens in most other crafts. If you use a natural fiber and you block it, wool is like a magical fiber. That was such a great deal, Amanda, wasn't it? That's not me. That's Lacey. That's Lacey helping you guys out with the indie dyed deals. I was almost like nervous to share it because I'm like, is the yarn dyer losing money on this? Because it's such a good deal. I personally have no idea what her margins are. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it does help bring traffic to her store, and it is offers that she has decided to share. So I went ahead and shared. It's such a good deal. So thank you, Lacey. And I will be checking in frequently on your blog for more deals. Yes. Look at some typos. Lacey, yes, that's what I'm using. The Surrey alpaca is just like mohair, though. I was surprised when I got it, but it looks and acts just like mohair, but a little silkier, in my opinion. Mohair does tend to have a prickle to it. Even alpaca can have a prickle to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if the suri is softer than the mohair, especially depending on the quality of the mohair. There is a range. When you're looking at animal fibers, there's so much that goes into the quality of the fiber, the breeding, and the health of the animal. Like my Lori, the kids' grandma, she owns sheep, Shetland sheep, and you'll see frequently changes to the fiber when the mom sheep is pregnant. It's a big deal. You can get breaks in the fiber and stuff. So there's so much that goes into a good quality fiber that, and there's such a range. And this is why you get merino wool that's not that soft, and then people that market super fine merino wool, because there is a giant range of softness within just that breed because of things like breeding and the overall health of the animal. Marquita, Catherine, you're so right. The curling can be torturous. I block early when it gets too annoying for me. Yeah, I feel like that would be the time to have one of those steam blockers. Just like give it a quick steam, let it dry real quick, and then continue. Especially because if you're making like a garment, how do you like try it on if it's curling? Marquita, I want to make Mocha's gloves for my daughter. Yes, her Ren Fair gloves. You have to use that shiny yarn too that makes it look like chainmail. Oh, the Metallico. That's an absolute must for that pattern. Mocha gets Mocha in trouble. Oh, I love this because I relate to it so much. Mocha gets Mocha in trouble with whips and stitches. But when I see a stitch I really like, I have to try and learn it. And then down the rabbit hole I go. I know you were talking about trying new stitches on your live. I have to go search out and look up the stitches because I've never heard of them before. But that is so fun. Oh, yeah. You're getting all of us in trouble as well as yourself. Oh. Lacey, yes, I have seen someone pull a design as well because it was so similar. It happens sometimes because trends happen. Absolutely. And it's impossible to see everything. And it's not too far-fetched to have an idea that somebody else could also have that same idea, and then it is really hard, but there is a moral expectation. Absolutely, that's where I look at it, and I am not in fear of lack of original ideas. I struggle constantly. I sketch so many things that never become patterns, so it's like that's why I also try to research things before I put all the work into them to make them a design. Is do they look like somebody else's? Even the overall dress, I went searching for an overall dress pattern to see if one existed, because what's the point in making this if you can already get it? And I didn't find one that looked like mine or my sketch, so I set to finish creating it. But yeah, there is this moral expectation that you're not out here just trying to copy other people. I like to turn knit patterns to crochet, but I'm going to skip to finish this, but won't even sell those. I'm going to do a blog post about it, but only to spread the ideas, not to steal anyone's ideas. I will give credit to the knit designer. So I think there is a blur of the two though. So especially if you wanted to do something like that, you can definitely reach out to the knit designer. Most designers can be responsive if they're not flooded with messages and DMs and work, but you can ask them, hey, I really love your design and I don't knit. I would love to create a crochet version. Can I ask for permission? Are you comfortable with me designing this in crochet and then selling it? And if they say go for it, then go for it, because you're in a different market than the knit designer. The knit designer is creating patterns for knitters, and you would be creating a pattern for crocheters. And as someone who does both, like me, I might decide I want the knit version or I want the crochet version, and I'm going to buy which one I want. I feel like they don't directly compete, even though the aesthetic is the same, but it would be safe to reach out and go, hey, I want to make a crochet version of your pattern. How do you feel about that? And if they say no, then just don't do it, like you said. But I do think it's something where you can go ahead and ask, and it's not far-fetched because it's not a direct competition. Whereas the wind spinner in crochet and the wind spinner in crochet with, well, I didn't even click on the videos. I didn't want to send any traffic their way. It's the same customer, the same consumer, and it's a direct theft. I mean, it really is theft. All right, let's see if I can get back to Kim. At least when that happened with the pocket shawls, people put their own spins on them. Mine looks nothing like the original. Exactly. You can take a shape, but you need to take it away enough that it's your own. These wind spinners that I'm seeing look identical to the original. Like identical. I don't know that there is, I mean, there could be a way to make it different, but I haven't seen anyone doing that. And with the wind spinners, it's a thing where if you change too much, it's not going to do its thing. Like that's how it works. So, but yeah, I absolutely agree with you. You can take, like, you can't like, oh, crescent shawl, like that's just a shape. Like there's gonna be room within that it's not direct theft. But yeah, so we're on the same speed there, I think. Knee deep in stitches. Hello. Thank you so much for joining my live. We are just chatting about the things that we are working on. What are you working on? What has got you excited and interested? I have been ranting about pattern theft and taking people's ideas and just making them your own and not crediting the other person, or, you know, that kind of thing, because I get so frustrated about it. Marquita, I love the blank idea. Oh, the videos. I'm like, it took me a minute. The blank made me do it. Is that what you're talking about? I'm so excited. Because, yeah, I got one for you with your poofs, because I bought the yarn for it. I just haven't made it yet, but you made me do that. Or are making me do that. Have inspired me. Lacey, won't even sell those. I'm going to do a blog post about it, but only to, okay, yeah, I skipped ahead to that one because it went to the other comment. Sorry, I think I did a comment once. Yeah, I think you did too. You should reshare your shawl now that we've talked about it in the live so people can come see it, the lace weight hollow web, because it is spectacular. And I know that you're probably going to share it when it's all finished too, so you could probably wait if you want, but. Kim, thanks. The shawl is actually for a video for my channel. I have to submit my app by September 30th. Oh, so that's soon. And then I find out in mid-October, so not a lot of time. When does the show start? So if you get your application in now and you don't find out till the middle of October, do you have to, like, is it so short that you basically have to stock like you're going to be going, even if you're not, otherwise you won't have inventory? That is the hardest part about doing shows. I've only done a handful in my entire life. It was really not for me because I don't like making things for other people. Just being honest, I like making things for me. Even people I love, I get bored because I want to make things that I'm excited about. And when I make for other people, I make things that they're going to love because it's not for me. And that's just not as much fun for me. I am a mix between process and project satisfaction. Like, I like the process, but I also am very invested in the finished object. So typically when I make things for other people, they're things that let me exercise my creativity and problem solving and designing. That's why I like designing. I love the problem solving aspect of it. Like I made an Oogie Boogie bunting for a friend who was expecting a child because there was no pattern and I just had a picture to go off of. And I love The Nightmare Before Christmas, so I actually really enjoyed that one. But generally, it's not for me. I did briefly work for a company online. I found them through Ravelry back in like 2011 or 12. Was it like Serendipityness or Serendipity Hats or something like that? They were a crochet hat company and they were hiring out makers to make their patterns. And I had to sign all sorts of contracts about like, I will not take, because they gave you their pattern, I will not make your pattern or try to sell your pattern or sell finished items of your pattern either, because they own the rights to it for just their company. I made like little bear hats and little shamrock hats, and they paid me pretty well for each hat I made. And they would send me like, we have orders for 4 newborn hats, 5 0 to 3 month hats. And I did that for a while, but it wasn't, they were small hats, so you could pop them out real quick and that was okay. But shows and inventory, that is the worst. Lacey, I keep scrolling and losing chat. Lindsay, please post that pic. Well, then there that goes. Please post that pic. I would love to see it in lace weight. I'm working on one in sport weight right now. Oh, you're doing the hollow web in sport weight. Oh, I didn't know. Like maybe you probably told me it was sport and I just assumed it was fingering weight. I saw the colors. It's pretty. Mocha, between getting in and the show, which is in early December, Yeah, when it comes to making a decent inventory, that is not a lot of time. We know how long it takes to make things, and you have to decide between bigger items and smaller items. And oh my gosh, hopefully when you get accepted, they will give you a list of other vendors so that you can make sure that you're selling things that are not identical to other people in your show. I was fortunate when I was doing shows that there would only be like 1 or 2 other crochet booths, and they were mostly stocked with like washcloths and like washcloths, and then like toys, I think. I'm trying to even remember, it's been so long, and like some basic hats. But my booth was like, there were no washcloths to be found. I made a bunch of hats that were sports team colors. I designed my own. I called it the cheerleader hat, which was like a boxy hat with pom-poms on the ends. And then the other hat I called the helmet hat, and it was worked from the ear around and looked like a helmet in Seahawks colors, and those all sold pretty well. And I had a booth with Lori, and she made, I split my booth with her, and then also another friend too. She had more like lacy doily things, and she sold a lot of coffee cozies that were themed. But Lori made these beautiful pumpkins out of like quilter's cotton and like a natural wood stem, and then she would take wire and make and she quilted leaves. Oh, they were beautiful. Those, she sold out of those every single time we went to a show. Every single time. Knitwim, I'll definitely post an update picture. Thank you, Lindsay. Divergent Crafter, is the Tunisian knit similar to the double knit or question mark? That I don't know. I don't know what the double knit is. So maybe if you know the answer, hook her up, either Marquita or Kim, you might know the answer to that one too. Lacey, can we get the link to your blog? Oh yeah, Lacey, pop that in there for everybody. Crochet Libra. Gotta go with the kid. Nice chatting with you. Bye, Lindsay. It was great chatting with you too. Have a great rest of your day. Lacey, OMG Mocha, samesies. I got 2 stitch dictionaries, and I am really wanting to just sit down with yarn and a hook and make a ton of swatches. I think it would be a cool quilt. That is something that was recommended for me to do with my swatches from when I swatched and reviewed your favorite cotton yarns. I've got a ton of swatches, which I still have to sit down and record the me ranking them from my favorite to my least favorite. But I think I have enough to make a small blanket, and they're all similar fiber content, so it should work really well. Yes, the blanket made me do it idea. Oh, the blank made me do it idea. Yeah, thank you. Definitely steal it if you want. It's not a super original idea. I've seen other people doing the, oh, blank made me do it. Kim, the 5,000 virus shawl videos is another example, other than Fiber Spider, who took the idea and applied it in other creative ways. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Crocheters. Marquita, I don't feel as creative when I make things for others unless I know more about them to fit it to their tastes. Absolutely. It becomes a personal thing when you're making for other people. It's not about you, it's for them, and you really have to work with them to be able to get excited about it. I don't do well making things for other people as surprises unless I know that person really well. Lacey, I want to do a show, but I crochet really slow, so it is impossible to build a stock. Yup. I mean, that is what it is at the end of the day, depending on if you work a full-time job, if you ever work overtime, if you have children, if you have other responsibilities that don't allow you to crochet all day, because that's basically what it takes to stock a show, and you need months prep time. You really do. And then on top of that, in order for it to really work and to be successful, you have to price your items according to your time, which hopefully that price meets market demand. And if it doesn't, you're out your time and you sell it for less, and you lose the cost of your time. Or if you don't sell it at all, then you lose all of it, your materials and your cost of time. It's a really rough business to try to run. And it's one of those things that I never got into it because I get so excited about designing. Like I did it a couple times, and then I just continued on to design. It's one of those things where you really have to study market trend, demands, what's selling. You have to be on top of it. You have to be very dedicated to a schedule and a timeline, and you really have to pay attention to your stats. the statistics of like what is selling, what's not selling, what are your margins, what are your costs, how much time do you have. It requires a lot of planning, and like you cannot mess those numbers up or you will be losing. It's not a sustainable business if you're not very particular about those things. You really have to have a business background or have some study of business. Lacey, oh my gosh, I would be a hat crocheter, LOL. Yeah, hats do well. Hats do well, and if they are using a big enough yarn, then they work up pretty quickly. And people love to gift handmade hats, so you can get away with selling small ones. I primarily sold newborn 0 to 3 months and 6 to 9 months. And then like all of a sudden like 2-year-old. But yeah, it's the smaller hats, they work up faster and they sell faster. Catherine, when someone asks me to make something for them, I usually say no because I've been known to get bored easily and I put a whip down for a year or two and I assume that wouldn't go over well. I have done that. And I will frequently, I don't post a lot of my crochet stuff on my personal Facebook page, which is all for like really close friends and family, not in the crochet community, because they start asking me for stuff. And so then I will publicly post like, hey, this person asked me to make this for them and it took me 2 years. This is what happens when you ask me to make something for you. I'm very clear about that because I used to have a hard time saying no, and then I would get myself into all sorts of problems. But now I've gotten to the point where I respect myself, I respect my time, and I'm more comfortable placing boundaries and being like, no, I don't want to do that. I love you. I don't want to do that. OMG, Catherine, I have told someone that, LOL, if that don't stop them, the price usually does. And that's exactly what I was just saying. Like, and that too, like, if I really, really love you, I'll do it for free. But outside of that, it costs a lot. And people need to know that because it is your time, and like time is money. Time is money. Lacey, right? Oh, Divergent Crafter. I wish there were more videos on motifs on YouTube, or maybe I am using wrong keywords. Oh, okay. I haven't like just generally searched motifs, so I don't know too much about that. Typically when I'll create a motif, I put it into a pattern on its own. I wonder if that's an area for exploitation for anyone that's a YouTuber. If you like to make motifs and you just put those out there, motifs are great. Actually, this would be a great book. So if anybody wants to write a crochet book, if you designed a collection of square motifs, it's very simple to turn those into things like shawls, bags, cardigans. So you could have patterns that use basic squares and then a whole book full of motifs, and you could literally turn them into anything. Somebody write that down. Go do it. You have my permission. Unapologetically Mocha Crochet and Crafts. I've got coin purses, I've got gloves, so if I get in, then I'll just need to make more poofs and wind spinners. I'm going to take some of my shawls just because. Yeah, it never hurts, and it's also beautiful to display them as well. It shows off your work as a experienced, skilled crocheter as well. Half of the battle, depending on the show you're in, is getting people to stop at your booth. Like catching their attention, because that's what everybody at the event is trying to do, is grab people's eyes. And so depending on where you are and how well your competition is attracting people, it can be hard to get people to even stop and look at your stuff. So I'm all for bringing shawls, even if you don't expect to sell them. And then, but I don't see me doing another show if I get into this one. It's just not for me. I'd rather make this pattern and let others have fun making it. That's exactly how I ended up where I am with designing and selling patterns, is because I have more fun creating the original idea, putting the pattern out, and sharing it with other people than I do making finished things for people to have. So yeah, I think that I've caught up on all the questions, I hope, or comments as well. I hope that I didn't miss anybody, because I was kind of quickly scrolling, and when that happens, I lose comments. So if I missed your comment, I am so sorry. It was not intentional, but it is past my lifetime. I've got to get back to my baby. So it was so much fun for having you guys here today. Next Saturday is the kickoff to the Lift Your Spirits Mystery Crochet Along. My shirt came in the mail. It's so cute. I am so excited. So next Saturday's live, I'm going to have Nancy of Schmutzerella Yarns live with me doing an interview, and we're going to be giving away some of her yarn. I am so excited about this. I'm so excited to host her and interview her and share her all about her and her business and be able to give away some of her yarn. So I hope that you guys will stop by next Saturday morning, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to share this design with you guys. It is literally my favorite design I've ever made. I get so hyped about it. It's so spooky and spectacular and lovely and bougie. Yes, I got called out in Kim's live as bougie. I didn't think I was. Looking back, I absolutely am. Somebody that designs a shawl pattern out of 5 hanks of any dyed fingering weight yarn. I'm bougie. I'm bougie for a yarn, guys. Real quick, I'll finish up here. Kim, I agree. I did a farmer's market one year, and all I did was crochet night and day all summer. Not fun eventually. Yeah, I agree, Catherine. There's burnout. There's burnout that happens. Thank you, Amanda. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Catherine. Have a great weekend. Yikes, I got to get my beads. Oh, no, yeah, get your beads. They're not in the immediate couple of rows, so if they come in a little late, you'll be okay, but they are in the first clue. So, oh, I'm going to get some merch. I need to hurry. I will definitely be here next week. I will be giving some merch away, too, throughout the crochet along, so you'll be able to keep up for that. Own it, girl. I gotta own the bougie. Yarn bougie is my people. I know you're yarn bougie, Lacey. I know that for sure. Nothing wrong with that, Marquita, right? I'll own it. Lacey, bye, my lovely friends. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, and I will catch you next weekend. Until then, happy crafting and have a great rest of your day.